G'day, nice to be here again. Ow, God, that's hot. Terrible day here in the south. Pouring with rain, windy, grey, miserable. But I'm not going anywhere anyway. This is one of the nicest parts of the hobby. The whole hobby is nice, don't get me wrong, but this is one of the nicest parts of it, making the little videos. I like this almost as much as painting the miniatures, believe it or not. Right on cue. See, every time I go and make a movie or a video, clocks go off. I don't know what it is, sod's law. But this is one of the nicest parts of it, making the movies. I like this almost as much as painting the miniatures. Anyhow, first things first, our 95th rifles are done. They're based, landscaped, gardened, all the rest of it. So that's them totally finished now, and they're all slipping forward. But that's them totally finished. So somebody said to me, they left a comment, I forget who, so forgive me, that they were 95th Rifles were a skirmish unit, which is totally true. I totally agree. I've done them in my usual sort of like long battalion format, just to keep everything regular, if you like. And the person also said they probably wouldn't have bothered looking for a flag. Well, which is totally true also. Being that I'd done them in battalion sort of format, and they did have a flag, I added it the same as I did with the first unit of 95th. I added it. I didn't actually have the flag with the horn and the crown on it, so I had to get a bit of paper and draw the horn and the crown twice and cut them out and stick them on the flag, and then paint the whole flag green. That's how I done it, but it's good enough. It's good enough. It'll do. It'll do. So that's them done anyway. That's them finished. So our next step is a battalion of highlanders, and these are going to be Cameron highlanders, as highlanders seem to be very popular at the moment to paint, so I thought I would join the party. Now I had two choices that I could go here, or two ways that I could go, because can't buy anything in at the moment because of reasons we all know about. So I had the choice of either using Airfix figures or Eschi figures, and in the end I went with the Eschi figures. I do think the Eschi figures are a little bit little bit on the skinny side to my mind, but that's what we'll go with until such time as we can order something a bit more appropriate. I mean, they're okay figures, they're okay. What I didn't have was a drummer. I had a piper. I didn't have a drummer, an officer figure, or any standard bearers. In actual fact, with the Esche Highlanders that I had, I didn't have a great range of poses for this. I had enough sort of figures really to make a battalion. Just not a great range of poses. It's just what I had in the stash pile, which, you know, is what we're all doing at the moment, going to the stash pile and seeing what we got. And so what I did was I went through the Airfix figures and I took out a drummer and an officer figure, and also Airfix to a figure that's, I assume the guy is supposed to be in the process of being shot because he's sort of reeling backwards like that. So I took one of those and I cut off the heads and I put on Esche heads to keep the bonnets all sort of uniform. So there's our drummer, Airfix drummer with Esche head. There's our guy reeling backwards. I'm sorry if you don't get a great view of this. It's funny lighting in this place again. And also our officer figure, which is, I don't know if I can see that with a bit of, no, it doesn't make any difference. You'll see them better when I get some paint on them, you'll see them better. But that's the officer figure. Now with Esche head. And we took, a sort of thing we normally do, guy loading a musket, we took two of them. And turned them into standard bearers. So they'll do for standard bearers. So that's our plan for today. I do genuinely think these figures are a little bit on the skinny side. But, you know, it's like we always say, give an average figure a decent paint job, they'll look okay. And at the moment, beggars can't be choosers. This is what we had, it's what we could put together. And we also decided, as well as the battalion, we just do one of those. Guy helping a wounded comrade. We'll do that. And quite a nice looking tartan. I doubt for 1 minute we'll get it as detailed as that, but we take the you know, the best of that pattern and do it, and it should look quite nice. Should look quite nice. So that's today's job. Is we're going to get some, at least hopefully get all the flesh toning done. That's the thing I do first. Get all that done, and this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the 10th battalion that I'm painting. So we get this one done. That's halfway through the infantry, and it's just 10 battalions left. And this hobby is, well, not hobby, but this part of the project is finished. So that's what we're on. Not going anywhere because of the hard weather. I probably wouldn't have gone out anyway because of the situation. Anyway, quickly before I go, I'm starting to ramble. Quickly before I go, I will give you the answers to those quiz questions that I gave you the other day quickly. Question 1. The footballer Graham Souness played international football for which country? That was Scotland. He's a jock. He was playing for Scotland. What number is to the right of 20 on a dartboard? It's number 1. And 5 is to the left of it. How many took part in the Battle of Waterloo? Well, the answer I got for that when I googled it was 191,000. That was how many people took part in the battle. 191,000. That must have been a hell of a sight, wasn't it? A hell of a sight. There was 73,000 French, 68,000 British, and 50,000 Prussians. Question 4. In the TV series The Prisoner, what number was the prisoner? The prisoner starring Patrick McGowan. He was trapped in this weird little village, and everybody had a number. They didn't have a name. So what number was Patrick McGowan? He was number 6. If you remember that series. Good series, great series. He was number 6. Question 5. What was the length of an English longbow? The answer I got for that when I googled that was 6 feet 6 inches. 1.8 meters. That's the length of an English longbow. 6 foot 6 inches. Question 6. Who lived at these fictional addresses? 23 Railway Cuttings, East Cheam. That was Tony Hancock. 26A, Oil Drum Lane, Shepherd's Bush. Who lived at those? Or who lived at that address? That was Steptoe and Son, Harold and Albert Steptoe. And who lived in Sodbury Terrace? Well, that was, if you remember back that far, that was Frank Spencer. He lived at Sodbury Terrace. What is the height, question 7, what is the height a Spitfire can go? Well, the operational height is 34,000 feet, or 10,400 meters if you're in new money. 34,000 feet, that's the operational ceiling. But the highest recorded height for a Spitfire is 51,550 feet, or 15,712 meters. That's the highest recorded height a Spitfire has ever flown. So that's pretty good height. Question 8, the last question. Which country has the most TV stations? Anybody know that one? That's Russia. 3,300 TV stations. China has 3,000. And the USA has 1,761. The European Union as a whole has 2,700, but that's all the countries of Europe combined, so I didn't include that in the answer. But that's the quiz questions. And finally, I was watching Who was I watching now? Wargaming with Gary, I believe he was. He did a battalion of English Civil War pikemen, which turned out very nice, I have to say. But if you're into the Civil War and you want a good read, it's something I'm currently reading at the moment. Very good book. Very good book. Quite a thick book, as you can see. Very good read on that period. Nicely illustrated with illustrations of the battlefields and the ground they fought over, and also a lot of maps in it showing you the troop dispositions. So you get a really good feeling for who fought where and did what, and the ground they fought over and how they were displaced, the troops. It's very good read. I can't remember where I got that book from. Bazaar or Jumble Sale, I think. But yeah, well worth the read. Battles and Generals of the Civil Wars, 1642-1651, Colonel H.C.B. Rogers. Right, I'm going to get on and put some colour on these Highlanders. As always, nice to be here. Thoroughly enjoying all the videos. Thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.